मोसमापतिता प्रभु न पाएंगे आरा मोसमापतिता प्रभु न पाएंगे महाप्रभु नित्यानंदा प्रेमानंद स्वरूपी दया करो सीतापति अद्वैत तव कृपा मोले पाय चैतन्य Jai Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jai Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. In the battery, it is done something. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma. Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma. Vandamoi Shuddhan dilo jai janme janme Prabhu se. Shuddhan dilo jai janme janme Prabhu se. Jiva jnana sabata shito. Prema bhakti jnana seya vidya vinasha. Namaste Saraswate Devi Bhagavate Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vashata Namo Nityananda Priya Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Divine Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON founder Vivek founder Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Vishnupad Hansaparichari Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Dinamacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki name se bolo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Vedikadanta Shri Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki Shri Radha Krishna Gaur Govinda Darshan Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki Mudra Vrindavan ki Vrindavan Maya all glories to all glories Shri Guru and Guru Vaishnava Prabhupada ki jai. Jaya Gopi Janavama Girvaradhari Gopi Janavallabha Girvaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girvaradhari Yashodanandanam Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandanam Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandanam Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandanam Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Jayudhanha Mahaduma Kunja Vihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandanam Braja Yamunatira Vanachari Jayudhanha Mahaduma Kunja Vihari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam namaskritya Naram chaiva narottamam Devim saraswatim vyasam Tato jayamudhire Nasya prayasya vadreshu Nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavati uttama shloke Bhaktir bhavati naistiki. Hare Krishna, everybody. Bhagavatam. Sava etasya samdrashtuhu Shakti sat asadatmika Maya nama mahabhaga Yayedam nirmame vibhuhu Sava etasya samdrashtuhu Shakti sat asadatmika Maya nama mahabhaga Yayedam nirmame vibhuhu Sava etasya samdrashtuhu Shakti sad asadatmika Maya nama mahabhaga Yayedam nirmame vibhuhu Sava etasya samdrashtuhu Shakti sad asadatmika Maya nama mahabhaga Yayedam nirmame vibhuhu Sava etasya samdrashtuhu Shakti sadasadatmika Maya nama mahabhaga Yayedam nirmame vibhuhu
Sava etasya samdrashtuhu Shakti sadasadatmika Maya nam mahabhaga Yayedam nirmame vibhuhu Sava etasya samdrashtuhu Shakti sadasadatmika Maya nama mahabhaga Yayedam nirmame vibhuhu Sava etasya samdrashtuhu Shakti sadasadatmika Maya nama mahabhaga Yayedam nirmame vibhuhu
Sava etasya samdrashtuhu Shakti sadasadatmika Maya nama mahabhaga Yayedam nirmame vibhuhu
Sa, that external energy. Va is either. Etasya of the Lord, Samdrashtuhu of the perfect seer, Shaktihi energy, Sat Asadatmika as both the cause and the effect, Maya Nama called by the name Maya, Mahabhaga, O fortunate one, Yaya by which, Idam this material world, Nirmame constructed, Vibhuhu the Almighty. The Lord is the seer, the external energy which is seen works as both the cause and effect in the cosmic manifestation. Oh, greatly fortunate Vidura. This external energy known as Maya or illusion, through her agency only the entire material manifestation made possible. The Lord is the seer, and the external energy which is seen works as both the cause and effect in the cosmic manifestation. Oh, greatly fortunate Vidura. This external energy known as Maya or illusion, and through her agency, only the entire material manifestation made possible. Hare Krishna Amrita.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Perfect. The material nature known as Maya is both the material and efficient cause of the cosmos. But in the background, the Lord is the consciousness for all activities. As in the individual body, the consciousness is the source of all energies of the body, so the supreme consciousness of the Lord is the source of all energies in material nature. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 10 as follows. Maya dyakshena prakritihi suyate sacharacharam hetunanena kaunteya jagad viparivartate. Throughout all the energies of material nature, there is the hand of the Supreme Lord as the final superintendent. Due to this supreme cause only, the activities of material nature appear planned and systematic, and all things regularly evolve. Hare Krishna.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisheshaya Shunyavadi Pashad Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So what is the seer and what is the seen? Very important. In Bhagavad Gita also the word is there, Kshetra and Kshetragna. Kshetra means the seen and Kshetragna means the seer. So in spiritual life it is very important first to understand the difference between seer and the seen. Most of the people in the world don't understand this difference only. The Bhagavad Gita also, first Krishna gives a knowledge. Knowledge begins with understanding difference between soul and the body. Soul and the body. That's the beginning of knowledge. Veda means knowledge. Bhagavad Gita is the Sara of the whole Vedas. So definitely the knowledge Krishna when he educates. When you want to educate somebody. Yeah? Nowadays they say that if somebody is educated, all the problem in the world will be solved. But we see that even with the education, people are not having good character. People don't know how to deal with other people. People, they do personally itself, they are addicted to so many vices and so many crimes are happening. Is it all the people doing crimes are uneducated? No, that's not true. Rather, you'll not see much difference in the crime rate between educated and so-called uneducated. That means there is something incomplete in this education. Correct? Education doesn't mean only some developing some skills. Education also means character building. Education also includes a clear spiritual vision. So modern day education is not complete education. Therefore, when we offer to the colleges, when I came here 20 years ago, I offered to the college, why don't we add value education to the, immediately all the colleges caught it. Yes, yes, we want. Because they understand. They all understand. We are, even though we are giving so-called education, but the children are not developing good character, which is also should be part of education. This has been understood, appreciated. But then what people do not understand is that this value education cannot come without spiritual education. Why? Because whenever I go to teach value education, first thing I teach about soul. But then why is it that people don't understand that why is he talking about soul? We said you talk about values. But the reason is that the values as such will not be absolute unless there is some final platform. I may say drinking is good because I like drinking. And somebody may say drinking is bad because he does not like drinking. So the values are very difficult to hold in an absolute platform. Therefore, philosophers are very confused. They say, how do you put values on an absolute platform? Can you say something is ultimately good? And as for the philosophers, the only thing they could say is ultimately good is that Atmavat Sarvbhuteshu. It's already there. They think that the great discovery they made. Look at the Jew. They say something is good, bad for me, will also be bad for others. So that is ultimate good. Don't do something to others. What if you will not like others to do to you? In a value education book, this is considered the Mahavakya. But this is so elementary actually. Chanakya said many times before, much more better than this. Matirivat Saru, Matirivat, Matirivat, what is the shloka? Matirivat, others' wife are like my mother. Okay. Atmavat Sarabhuteshu ya Pashyati sa Panditaha. Chanakya Pandit said, Atmavat Sarabhuteshu. Matrivat Paradareshu, sorry. Matrivat Paradareshu. And I don't know why today my brain is not working. Matrivat Paradareshu. And then come Atmavat Sarabhuteshu ya Pashyati Panditaha. Matrivat Paradareshu. Paradarveshu Loshtavat. Atmavat Sarabhuteshu Yaha Pashyati Zapatita. Yes, started working now. Madhuryath Paradareshu, he sees any woman who is not his wife, he respects like a mother. Where is his education? I remember I was pestering, gone to one college, notorious college in this belt, Manipal College. And I was pestering the dean. I want to take class. So really. So he was very pious personality. So he said, we have a problem here. The fourth year people just are not attending to the class at all. So they are very noisy. Would you like to speak to them? I said, I'll speak to them. No problem. Give me a chance. That was the first chance. I still remember above the library auditorium. Now the whole campus has changed today. I should not take the name of college, but sure. So above the library, there was some kind of library auditorium. He collected all the fourth year people. And he went there and said, Swamiji wants to speak to all of you. So I went there. I saw students sitting there, all sitting in pairs. The famous is college, all boys and girls are in pairs, like married couples. They're sitting together. And he said, okay. So I asked the dean, what class you like me to take? Take on mind control. I said, okay, mind control. I said the mind control is the easiest if you follow Chanakya. Really, we are interested in the Chanakya. Chanakya, we heard about the Chanakya anything. So Chanakya says, Matirivat Paradarishu. If any woman is not your wife, you should treat her like your mother. All the boys are looking with me, red eyes, and some girls started crying. This was the result. So what values you can teach? What is this education? What is this value of this education? Prabhupada used to say, In fact, the students used to, I had a center there, a Sunday there. Students used to visit me. So one day in a good assembly, I said, actually in the Vedic culture, tell me how many of you agree to this. Vedic culture says free mixing of boys and girls is a symptom of degradation of civilization. What is the symptom of? Degradation of civilization. All of them say we don't agree to this. Now, what is education? I was just extending on this point. In the Bhagavatam, there is a description where Shukracharya's daughter, her name is like Damayanti, yeah, and Sarmishta and Damayanti. So Damayanti, Shukracharya's daughter, once was thrown by Sarmishta. Sarmishta and Damayanti were having fun together. One was the Sarmishta, daughter of a Kshatriya, and Damayanti, daughter of Shukracharya, but taking bath together. Suddenly something happened from that place. Lord Shiva passed or something, and in a hurry to dress themselves up, Sarmishta by mistake wore the Damayanti's top on her. She took the wrong cloth on her. When that happened, Damayanti was a bit proud. What do you think of yourself? I'm a Brahmin and you're a Kshatriya. You wear my clothes. You have no shame. Now, Kshatriya can't tolerate insult. That's the nature, the Kshatriya. When we are corrected, we get angry. We should know we are not a Brahmana. We are a Kshatriya. Kshatriya means he's seeking prestige. He's seeking attention. We are not a Brahmana. Brahmana means he doesn't look at whether I am respected or not respected. Looks at the tattva. You say you are mad. That's not okay. What's the point you want to tell? No, you're mad. That's okay. You tell me what's the point you're telling me. That's Brahmana. Whereas Kshatriya means why you to say I'm mad in front of everybody. He's not a Brahmana. He's a Kshatriya. He's too much focused on that. He's a third-rate Kshatriya. He's not a Brahmana class. Brahmana class means he should not be heard by personal respect or disrespect. He's more focused on what's the point. Tell me. That is focus, not personal respect. When somebody is seeking personal respect, he's not a Brahmana. So therefore, generally, Kshatriya will not be given as much respect as a Brahmana. That's Vedic culture, not like today. Today, everybody is seeking attention, all attention seekers. Prabhupada says, Kali Yuga means self-advertisers. Everybody is a self-advertiser. Just wants to advertise himself. A Brahmana means a silent worker. He wants to work for the Lord's pleasure, not self-advertising. Prabhupada said, I want the devotees in the movement to be silent workers, not self-advertisers. So that is the reason why Brahmana generally given respect more. But then Damayanti should not have been hurt by that. She's a Brahmin girl. If she says, I'm Brahminic qualities, why she got hurt? If she got hurt, means she's not a Brahmin. So anyway, she says to Sarmishta, what do you think of yourself? You're third-rate Kshatriya, you wear my clothes. So Sarmishta said, okay, Damayanti, you speak like this to me, so I'll show you what a Kshatriya is actually. She took her clothes off, made her naked, and threw her into the well and walked away. Now, you don't know what a Kshatriya is. See, this Kshatriya does when you serve her. And she's naked in a well, Damayanti, Shukracharya daughter. Pardon me if I have some mistake in these names, but if I remember, these are the names. Now what happens? Closer. Now what happens that Damayanti is lying in that place, and a king passes to that place. Is, if I remember his name, well, the Yayati. Yayati? You remember the first time. So then what happens when this Yayati passes by that place, he wants to drink water. And he looked into the well. Instead of water, he sees a beautiful girl standing naked there. So he recognizes her because Shukracharya is very big. He is very big personality. And his daughter known. So he recognizes her, or he asks her who you are. Okay. Now he decides he cannot touch her. Because in the Vedic culture, if you touch a woman, you have to marry her. It's strict. So he therefore takes his turban, king's turban out, and makes something out of kurta and everything, makes a rope for her to come out of the well. But she is maybe, whatever reason, she cannot pull herself out. So then finally, to save her life, the life of the girl, he jumps into the well and pulls her out of the well. And now the girl says, you have to marry me because you touched me. Just imagine, this is the strictness. And later they got married and so many things happened. But the point was that today we don't have that culture. We say, what marrying? They even kiss, they embrace, they don't marry. Well, has it improved? Rather, what has happened? Go around the world, it has become led to prostitution. Marriage has become a joke today. Because just before marriage itself, girl has 100 boyfriends. She has 10 heroes in her heart as her ideas. So what the girl will have the purity to think about the husband? She has 100 images of so many men in her heart. In the Vedic culture, this is strictly not allowed. The girl will definitely, and not only girl, both the boy and the girl, they don't look at anybody else with a wrong angle or an angle of embracing except the husband. First marriage, then love. Not like today, first love and then marriage. That's not allowed. No test drive. First marriage and then love. Very strict. And that led to so much purity in the society. The mind was pure, the mind was calm. Otherwise, the external energy will drag the mind. Okay? So I was talking, coming back to the Manipur student dilemma. I explained the whole thing to them. I said, see, try to understand this point. We think we have advanced in culture today. We want to marry somebody if you hold the hands. You know, but what he was telling that when the Britishers came to India, he went to visit some, very elderly, respected personality. So when he met that personality, his wife, he said, "Is my wife." So he said, "How are you? How do you do?" They take the hand out. She went 10 feet back. He was shocked because that was the culture. The woman will not shake hand with a strange husband. Forget about shaking hand. They appear in front, they will be careful. But here is shaking hand, embracing, kissing, that's a Western culture. It's like they don't think second thing about it. And the Vedic culture, it's strictly not allowed. But you may say this is a level to be advanced, not advanced. You're degraded like animals. Show the result. Look at the result. How many divorces? 50% divorces today. In some countries, more. Marriage is just in the namesake. Look at the fundamental reason for it. In Bhagavad Gita, it said, Dhyayate Vishya Pumsaha Sangasteshu Vijayate Sanga Sanchayate Kama Kama Krodha Vijayate. If you contemplate on any subject matter, uh, that becomes your attachment. And Sanga Sanchayate Kama, that develops lust in the heart. Kama Krodha Vijayate, that develops anger. So therefore, the Dhyayata has to be controlled. Correct. And when in the Vedic culture, only a husband, if he wants to even thinking about sex, first thing is get married. A boy, if he cannot maintain the mental purity, he should get married. Then the question to artificially to remain mithyachari, better become Grahastha. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there was a principle that once what happened, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had came to a place to take his lunch. So when he's taking lunch, he asked this question that this rice is so good. From where he got the rice? He said the Chota Haridas Thakur got it. From where he got this rice? Chota Haridas Thakur. He said, I went to the sister of Sikhi Mahaiti and I got it from there. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told his servant, Chota Haridas Thakur was not there. Somebody said he got it from the house of Sikhi Mahaiti. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knew that when this boy, the sannyasi, went to the place, he looked lustfully at that woman. Just that point, because he's the Paramatma in everybody's heart, he said, tell Chota Haridas, he cannot see me anymore. For Chota Haridas Thakur, this was like a thunderbolt because he was a lover of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was a chief singer, one of the great singers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Assembly. Very sweet voice. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, okay, fine, tell him not to see. He was so much pain, he did not eat for many days. The devotee requested him that, please eat, don't do like this. So he started eating. And every day when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to take darshan of Jagannatha, he used to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from a miles of a distance. So he doesn't come to know. From miles he used to take a darshan. And for 1 year he did like that. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not call him to talk to him. He felt so much pain and rejection. He went to Haridwar, committed suicide. And somebody came to know about this, and when the devotees visited from Bengal, Jagannath Puri, they told Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu this happened. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, this is the punishment for somebody who is in a renounced order of life and looks at a woman lustfully. And he also had a case of Shivananda Sena. Shivananda Sena was the personality. Radha Govinda ki jai. Shivananda Sena was the personality used to every year bring the whole team from Bengal for darshan of Puri and of the Rath Yatra. Every year he used to do that. He was the leader of that team, who knows how to pass through all the toll gates and everything. Shri Radha Govinda ki. So anyway, when Shivananda Sena visited Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, at that point, he brought his child. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu not only was happy to see his child, he even gave name to his child. Now look at two contrasts. Here is the personality, he just looked lustful for a second. And here is the personality who had sex and produced a child. And person who just looked lustfully, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu debarred him from a company and did not even feel sad when he committed suicide. Externally. So internally is a different thing. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was setting a standard. But later, Chota Haridas Thakur was given an opportunity daily to sing for Lord Chaitanya as a Gandharva. Lord Chaitanya used to take bath in the ocean, and every day Haridas Thakur, in his Gandharva body, used to sing for him. He was practically a Gandharva with very sweet voice. And here is Shivananda Sena. But look at the example Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave, who is produced a child after having sex. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is blessing him and blessing the child, also giving name to the child. Somebody just looked, was punished with the death penalty. And somebody who is produced, had sex and produced a child, and Chaitanya had no problem with it. Because why? Hypocrisy. You are a grahastha, you are a grahastha. There is nothing wrong for a grahastha to produce a child. That's what life is meant for. And then make a child into a great devotee. And here is a brahmachari or a sannyasi looking at a woman lustfully. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave him death penalty. In fact, Bhaktivinoda Prabhupada writes an elaborate purport on that pastime. He said, this is the standard for the members of this Krishna conscious movement, particularly for the leaders. Correct? So we call ourselves initiated and all. It's all drama. Haridas, Yamaraj doesn't care for all this, your names. You're initiated, Maha-initiated, second initiated, sannyasi. Yamaraj doesn't care for that. He sees what you're doing, what you're done with your ashrama. Correct? Isn't it? And you'll be punished. We should be very clear that no hypocrisy should occur. Pakhandi. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Mithyachara cha uchyate. Mithyachara cha uchyate. That is called a mithyachari. Huh? Now somebody is trying to control his senses. Ya aste manasa smaran. Indriyatma vimudhatma. Mithyachara cha uchyate. I'm not getting the first line. Mithyachari. Mithyachari means a hypocrite. So Bhagavad Gita, Krishna himself says such a person is externally renouncing the objects of senses, but internally is always contemplating on the sense object. He's a hypocrite. And Prabhupada says in the purport, nobody likes hypocrisy. Correct? Nobody likes. So you say honestly, yes, I can't control my senses. Be a gentleman. So externally somebody may be mistaken. You know what's the fact. And Nityachara Sochate. Prabhupada says we should not even dare to sit on the Vyasasana if we can not follow the four regulated principles. We should not even dare to sit on the Vyasasana. It's a sinful activity. Because what are you representing then? You're not representing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You're not representing Prabhupada. What you're representing. So therefore we should be very, very strict. We want to be instrument in the hand of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We want to be instrument in the hand of Srila Prabhupada to spread Krishna consciousness. But then Prabhupada said, nobody can make his disciples happy, his followers happy, unless he is recognized by the Lord. Correct? You have to become an instrument. Then the instrument, somebody should, I want to use the specs. So I should pick it up, no? If I find the spec is useless, then the spec's existence is gone. Waste. So if there's somebody doesn't, suppose you have pen lying on your table, very nice pen. But if I don't pick it up, the pen existence is waste. Somebody has to use it. So similarly, unless the Lord uses us, our existence is useless. We are born for nothing, waste. Okay. So the Lord, there was once somebody, he went to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, I want to be Guru. So Prabhupada said, have you read Nectar of Instruction? Well, I have not read. So Prabhupada said, what is the first verse? Huh? The first. Karmendriyani samyamya ya aste manasa smaran indriyartham vimodatma mityachara sa uchyate. आगे श्लोक है ठीक है so now आगे nectar instruction another shloka what is shloka vacho vegam manasa krodha vegam jiva vegam udarapastha vegam etan vegan visheta dhira sarvanapi mam prithvim shashisha every day at least one verse we should remember so year you remember 365 verses you get some vocabulary because when you recite the verses, they're also mantras, not only Hare Krishna mantra, they also purify. And not only that, when you explain with the verses, people can also appreciate. And you also can keep teaching yourself. So, Vacha Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam. So, Prabhupada said, okay, yes, you want to be Guru, you want to be a teacher, but are you following the 6 principles? Vacha Vegam, control your tongue, don't simply blabber, blah, 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 blah. We speak unnecessarily, we speak Gramikata. Manasa Krodha Vegam, control your mind, control your anger. Jiva Vegam, control your tongue, eat only prasadam. That also in regular times. And that also not overeating. Overeating means you're gaining weight. Vacha Vegam, proper jokes. Nowadays modern culture is no control in eating. After that, they run on a treadmill. Now, why you increase when you want to decrease? Eat less. Very simple. You want to control weight, eat less. It's scientifically not possible to gain weight unless you're eating more. Scientifically not possible. Logically not possible. People, what they do, they eat more and then say, I'm gaining weight. And eat less. Simple. No, isn't it common sense? When people fast, they start losing weight. So eat less if you want to lose weight. So Jiva Vegam, people cannot go. Vacha Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Udara, the belly. Now you have no control on eating, but the belly will inflate. Udara, Upasa, then sex desire. When you cannot control sex desire also. The people who are not strict, they cannot control sex desire also. If you are strict in eating, then your belly will control. Then that's also prasadam also, that's called lusting over prasadam. Prabhupada says, and somebody asked Srila Prabhupada, why sometimes we see your disciples are falling down? Because Prabhupada had not 1,000 disciples, and some people are falling down, going back to simple habits. So Prabhupada, the reason is, various reasons. One of the reasons is, in the name of prasadam, they overeat. No, we should be careful that we eat. We should not overeat. Not that you see, he's a sadhu. Nom, 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 nom. What do you feel? Just imagine. You go to meet a sadhu, he's eating 100 items. Nom, nom, nom. You say, what is this vairagya? He's lusting over prasadam. So, your lusting is not only gross, other lust will lead to this lust. Therefore, it is very sad sometimes when a brahmachari steals some prasadam and keeps to just eat later. It's considered a very bad culture. Stealing something to eat later. You're lusting. Shows your lust. I like something. And you hide it somewhere to eat it more later. That shows a lusty mentality. Lusty mentality, I want to eat Prasadam is honoring. Somebody said we have to eat more. We have to eat more to advance the spiritual life, more prasadam. Eat prasadam with more surrender, with more service attitude. Not the eating more prasadam will purify. Eat little prasadam with more respect and more devotion. So all these things, they are different aspects of Krishna consciousness. And then what happens? The mind becomes controlled. And the mind becomes controlled. Then we come to beginning of knowledge. What is the Prabhupada? Unless there is a senses of control, there is no question of any development or any knowledge in the Bhagavad Gita. Because knowledge is a function of Sattva-guna. That is another reason we see in modern education, students, when they are there in the class, They are not hearing because they're in Rajasic and Tamasic. Study cannot be done in Rajoguna Tamaguna. The basic defect of modern education. Students are allowed Rajasic, Tamasic activities. Tamasic man and Rajasic man cannot learn. Therefore, when exam comes, they just cram today. And even otherwise, studies are done only in tuition. In a forced circumstance of a fear and danda, he is taught. Nobody can study today on their own. They need tuition. Rajoguna, Tamoguna, person cannot develop knowledge. In Bhagavad Gita, we see when Krishna tells divine and demonic qualities, he makes a big list. And the first thing is cultivation of spiritual knowledge, purity of the thought. These are the first quality, three qualities that discussed of a sannyasi. First three qualities, the qualities of sannyasi in there. तीन है. एक तो है cultivation of knowledge. एक है control of the senses, control of the mind. Okay, exactly, I don't get now. The first three qualities, proper attribute sannyasi. So cultivation of spiritual knowledge, we want to cultivate spiritual knowledge. We want to teach spiritual knowledge. We have to maintain Sattva-guna first. If you're not maintaining Sattva-guna, there is no wisdom. Try to understand this point. Learning is the element only of Sattva-guna. There is no learning in Rajoguna. And for that, you may say, how is he learning anybody? Because certain amount of Sattva-guna everybody has. If you increase that, your learning increases. Brahmana means 100% Sattva-guna in the Vedic culture. So much so, there was Shruti. The Vedas were just heard and remembered once. That's called learning. That's called learning. You don't have to repeat it again. Understood? Suppose I tell you 24, write down. I'll remember now 24. Now that much your capacity. Now increase that capacity. I was joking, no? When I have to go to railway station, I see the ticket S424. I go land up in the railway station, again open the ticket S424. Then when I see my compartment, again I see S424. I've forgotten every time. Then I go to my seat and the people ask, what is your seat number? I again forget. And fourth time, again open S4. This is our memory in Kalida. That shows total lack of Sattva-guna. But Sattva-guna is there, people's memory increases. You know, so as we spend time in Krishna consciousness, we do not know. Bhakti to bhi bahut badi cheez hai, dikhta nahi hai, we can't see. You say you're becoming devotee, that is internally to you, it's not visible to me. But what is visible is he becoming sattvic? If somebody advancing in Krishna consciousness means symptoms of Sattva-guna should be visible in that personality. Other things are external, internal, we don't know. But if external is not there, that shows internal also may not be there. Very much doubt. Just like advancing a spiritual life is like traveling on an aeroplane. But the shadow should be there on the ground, no? If there is no shadow on the ground, we are doubtful whether you are on the air. So ground is like material plane. So you may be advancing a spiritual life, but on the ground, why the shadow is not there? So if there is no symptoms of Sattva-guna visible in a person, we doubt whether actually is advancing in spiritual life. So learning is an element of Sattva-guna. Desire to learn, desire to understand, desire to learn new things, the symbol of Sattva-guna. I want to learn. It's not that as the age goes, learning goes away. That's an excuse. Learning should, desire to learn keeps developing. Correct? And the most best thing to learn is we should have to learn the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, all details. In fact, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, rather in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna Kaviraj Goswami says, if you avoid philosophy, so some people say, I only chant. That's not correct. If you avoid philosophy, when you practice Krishna consciousness, then what is going to happen is that your bhakti will be very immature. What will happen? Bhakti will become immature. It will become sentimental. That's why it says, religion without philosophy becomes fanatism. And that has happened to practically many religions today. They're fanatic. We just say something, this is not correct. They become wild. They kill you. They attack you. They just can't stand any questions. They become wild. Just imagine you go to a temple. Say, you worship in this way. Why don't you worship in this way? Ah, you said it. kind of person is he? I just asked him a question. Why are you becoming angry? Correct? He should be able to answer. No, smiling. When Arjuna said, Krishna, I don't know how to fight, but Krishna shouted at him. No. True, offense is not allowed. You cannot offend. You can always ask a question without offending. Correct? Not that somebody offends a lot and you say, why is he becoming angry? No, how a devotee will handle. If you offend, Hanuman burned the whole Lanka. Correct? But you can ask a question without offending. Nothing wrong. Okay? So, therefore, learning is a very important principle, and learning is a principle of Sattva-guna. So, Sattva-guna should develop in a personality as it develops Krishna consciousness. And then the education begins. And therefore, before Diksha, there is something called Purasharya. The previous activities which are needed, just like a guru, if somebody initiating somebody, he sees certain qualities. Not that he's going to initiate Aira a person. Like in ISKCON, we are very strict. We take years of training before even recommending somebody for initiation. We think 10 times whether this person can be recommended for initiation. So what are the different elements? So many elements we see. We see 3 elements in him compulsorily. Number 1, what is the sadhana? Is he doing sadhana? Is he coming for Mangalarti? Is he chanting his rounds? Is he doing all other activities in time? And number 2, therefore we have sadhana chant and more implemented. The number 2 is that what is the understanding? Has he read this in books? Has he given exam? Somebody say, I've read Bhagavad Gita. That's all story. You read like a newspaper. You have to give an exam on that. You have to give academic exam, whether you have understood all the concepts of Bhagavad Gita. And number 3 is that what is the seva? Is he doing some service? If he doesn't do any service, why we should give him initiation? Nobody will give initiation. What is the service? At least ideal is 2 hours a day he does some service. And nowadays he can do online. He's doing some service. 3 ways he has to participate. Otherwise, okay, keep chanting rest of the life. No temple in so many instances, Prabhupada will not allow unless temple president recommends. And temple president never recommend unless these 3 things are there. Person has proper understanding, person has proper sadhana, and is doing some service. Correct? What is the use of philosophy when you don't do service? And service, not only we do service, we should have service attitude. When somebody is chanting, the first symptom is that it develops service attitude. There was a Muslim king who went to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This Muslim king, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was traveling and he reached a place. He was, that time Pratap Rudra was the king of Odisha. So he put a personality called Mahapatra to look after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's travel. When the king came to know Chaitanya was going to Vrindavan, he requested Sarva Bhattacharya Ramanadara, please hold him somehow. I don't want him to go. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was determined. And finally, after some time, he went. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going, at that time, I hope my voice is clear. Mahapatra was making arrangement in all the towns, making a place for staying, making a place where people can take darshan and keep all grocery, kitchen, everything ready, and devotees to make prasad with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, making elaborate arrangement. So what happened? The Muslim king sent a servant to find out what's happening because, king means he always has a spy to manage what's happening. Even today, every country has a spy. They want to know what's happening. Today, mostly the spy network is for, elaborate, intricate, vicious activities. All countries do vicious activities. They kill somebody, they do something, all vicious. But previously, spies are not meant for vicious activity, but to get information to the king. Lord Rama himself went in a Gupta form in his kingdom to see what's happening. We should know. So what happened now? He sent a person. So when he saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came back. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hey, what happened to you? You are a Muslim. What to do? What is the report? Report is millions of people are surrounding Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and they are in ecstasy. Everybody chanting Krishna Nama. Just by seeing him, you start chanting Krishna Nama. The king was quite open person, got interested. Really? When you give charity, people crowd around. What is this person doing? Really, he must be giving something. Why he's been mobbed by people. Something he must be giving. So I was suspicious. Now I'm getting some interesting news. He said next person, Gupta. I think that's how the name Gupta would have come. His confidential servant. You go find out. Secretary Gupta, confidential servant. So he goes to check out. He also comes back. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. The king said now, and he's very happy. So the happiness is one. You see, Srila Prabhupada around the world spread Krishna consciousness. Not ever by disrespecting any religion, but by doing Nama Sankirtan. When people used to hear Nama Sankirtan in public, people from every religion came, irrespective of the religion, because what we want is happiness. Correct? It's all rubber banding on the head. I'm this religious, that religion. We want happiness. And I saw the devotees really so happy. Anybody who was impartial saw devotees actually happy. I said, really? And they also started joining, chanting, dancing, and they said, this is so wonderful. And they came back. And I wish we start in the evening also big Harinam in the temple so everybody can join. Because real happiness is in Harinam. Philosophy. That's not the only thing for advancing in Krishna consciousness. We should have big Harinam every day so people can. Culmination of all philosophies, Harinam. I wish we can start soon. So anyway, so now what happened when then the king said, I also want to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Mahapatra took over the whole discussion. He said, wait a minute, you want to see is allowed. They're never going to close the door. But you should not bring any weapons with it for safety purpose. We don't know what is he intending to do. He's from another religion, and those days it was not very healthy. There was a lot of fights and exploitation. He said, okay, king agreed, I'll come. So the king came, dressed in normal wear. His security guards are also dressed in normal dress. Nobody is carrying any weapon. And moment he saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even though he was a Muslim king, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, the mouth Krishna Rama started. And he fell at the feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he said, I want to serve you. Now Prabhupada writes the elaborate purport. The proof that somebody chanting Hare Krishna is that he wants to do service. And somebody said, I'm chanting Hare Krishna, doesn't want to do service. Something strange. Because the very meaning of the Hare Krishna mantra is, my Lord, engage in your service. Please engage in your service. So what are you chanting? What is the meaning of your chanting? I'm chanting Hare Krishna, but I don't want to do service. Doesn't make a balance. Therefore, these three things are considered before we recommend somebody for initiation. The three things, he is chanting, he wants to do service, and he does service, not only wants to do. And third thing, he has a proper philosophical understanding. Okay, so all the three combinations should be there. Then knowledge develops. Okay, so knowledge doesn't fructify. Suppose somebody says, I'll chant only whole day. He will not develop any knowledge. He has to follow the system. Okay, he has to follow. Neither he will be able to chant whole day. It's all story. Because we are not in a position of the Haridas Thakur or Chota Haridas Thakur chanting 192 malas today, every day. You cannot do that. Therefore, there should be chanting, there should be a service also. Just like Arjuna. Krishna did not tell Arjuna, Arjuna, you sit and chant only. No, Prabhupada, there should be chanting and there should be service also. He made Arjuna fight. You could have told Arjuna, Arjuna, you go to the forest. You sit down and you chant. I'll take care of this war. I'll see my Sudarshana take care of the war. No, that was enough for Krishna. We would have sent the Sudarshana. Arjuna, we both will just sit and chant. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Sudarshana, and he can do the whole war. He would have finished all the warriors. On one side, both sides, whatever Krishna wants. Alone is Sudarshana was enough. So why did Krishna make Arjuna fight? There are various reasons for it. One of the reasons is that we need engagement. It's not that Krishna needs Arjuna. He says in the Bhagavad Gita later, when 11th chapter shows Vishwarupa, is Arjuna, nobody is going home from here. It's already decided. Now it's for you if you want to be an instrument. Nimitra matrena bhavasavya sachen. Arjuna, just become an instrument in my hand. It's already decided here. Nobody is going home. So similarly, don't ever think Lord Chaitanya movement depends on you. Or I'm special, I'm a special teacher, or I'm a special personality. We are a fig, useless fig. Lord Chaitanya movement doesn't depend on us. If it is not XYZ, it will be ABC. Whoever came forward got the mercy. Correct? So it is for us to take the mercy. I see so many people, even in the Bhagavatam class, very nicely reading shlokas, reading purport.
but hesitating to take class. I just don't understand what's their problem. They are missing the opportunity for service. We are chanting Hare Krishna, understanding philosophy. Why don't you take class? So both ways it should be. One sense, one angle, if you're taking class, see that you're strictly following rules and regulations. And others, and also not on taking class, you should respect all of the services. Don't think only taking class is service. Everything is a service. Therefore, actually, there should be a rotation. Sometimes they take service at their class, sometimes they cook, sometimes they do deity worship. Everything is respectable. Don't think one thing is higher and one thing is lower. The service to the Lord, everything is equal. At the same time, those who are doing only hearing but not doing service, it's also strange. What's their problem? Everybody should take an opportunity. Therefore, you develop, okay, you cannot take class of elder, at least start taking class of small children. You'll get confidence. Sometimes you may be that I don't feel confident. Now, recently they were telling me that there are now 8 teachers. I said, it's a shame on us. We were teaching for 1 year. We could not produce even 8 children teachers. What are we teaching them? We are simply wasting our time and other people's time. We can't even produce 8 teachers. To teach 8 classes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A 5-year-old child, we could not create in 1 year for teaching a person who can teach first 5-year-old child. What are we doing? We should question ourselves actually. At least in the 4 languages we have, English, Hindi, Kannada, Telugu, we have had maybe 50,000 people we are teaching each language. We could not create 8 people. Krishna Shakti Vinao Parivartana. Krishna never gave us Shakti even this much. I was feeling very strange yesterday on the news. They don't even 8 teachers for it. Forget about rotation of teachers. This is sad. So that is both ways. One thing the teacher should introspect. Other thing the student should think, what's happening to me? 1 year I'm chanting. I can't teach even a child who's 5-year-old. You wanted to set up a school. And there is a huge rush. 2,000 children are already registered. But we are feeling sad to even combine classes. I felt very bad. Combine classes. What is the need to combine classes? Why people are not coming forward to teach? So how they will advance in Krishna? And they should not approach me for anything. Don't even come to me for initiation or anything if you're not teaching or not doing service. I'll not even consider that application. Those people who are not participating, what we developed recently, I would think how to name it. But serious studies, they're not interested. They should not come. Just chanting, they are not interested. 3 things has to be there. Sadhana, there should be service and studies. Academically, they should be interested. In fact, ISKCON more and more strict it is now. Academically, there is academic exam. If they cannot pass academic exam, no guru will initiate. So why we bring forward such people? They are not interested in serious study. They just want to chant. Okay, they just chant. Don't bother us for anything more than seriously. Yeah, chant, that's all. If you're chanting, you're not able to develop Sattva-guna to learn, that shows something is wrong with you. First thing of chanting is that it will bring some peace of mind. And peace of mind means that person develop desire, because a Kshatriya has a desire for power, Vaishya has a desire for money, and Brahmana has a desire for knowledge. The desire for knowledge should develop. Then you properly study books in good association. And then you are chanting Hare Krishna, you are having study and not wanting to do service, that's also strange. So all the 3 should combine together. And this is a wonderful service. I don't know, again and again you tell people hesitate for what purpose, I don't know. Small child, then why you produce a child at home? At home you have to train the child, no? So you're producing a child, you have no capacity to teach him. Then that's called voluntary family planning. Then don't produce a child. Correct? You cannot educate even a small 5-year-old child. It's very sad. I felt very bad yesterday when I heard that report. They were not finding enough teachers and we have forced to combine classes. I felt very sad. It reflects very bad on the teachers. What are they teaching for 1 year? I don't know. 8 teachers are not there. They cannot produce for teaching small children. Small children. A 5-year-old child, what is the teaching to be given to him? So simple. And you cannot empower somebody to even do that. I felt very sad. Very sad. That looks very bad on the teachers. We should reflect ourselves, what we are doing. See, ISKCON movement is meant for explosion. Hare Krishna explosion. It's not meant for, suppose somebody says, how is the things going on? It's going on. What is this going on? This movement is not meant for going on. This movement is meant for explosion. But explosion to occur, it cannot occur one-sided. People have to participate. then the explosion can occur. So the spiritual knowledge, when it develops, the first thing that will clear, and how it will develop, there is sadhana, there is service, and there is studies. Then the spiritual knowledge develop, and the first thing we'll see, there is a difference between the seer and the see. That's the first line in this. We spend whole 1 hour trying to understand. There is a difference between seer and the see. When there is a difference between seer and the see, when the knowledge develops. But today in the society we see this knowledge does not develop, even a noble knowledge. Because he does not have sadhana, he does not have service, and he has no spiritual education. It's not that the scientists are not trying to get knowledge. They're trying, sincerely trying. But they're not following the right process. What is the right process? Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upudakshanti te jnanam jnanina tattvadashinaha. Tad vidhi pranipatena, unless you take shelter of an acharya, pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya, and inquire from him submissively. Upudakshanti te jnanam jnanina tattvadashina. Then, only then, we develop spiritual knowledge. You have to get it from somebody who has it. And today, they are so proud of what we call prataksha. Therefore, Prabhupada used to say, what is your power of seeing? Why are you so proud? Show me. Why are you so proud of your eyes? What are your eyes? This is the main disease of the scientists. That's a mistake. It's not that they're not trying to know the truth, but they're trying to know the truth the wrong way. Therefore, they're not getting the truth. 300 years of science, they don't know the difference between seer and see. And what will Acharya says? They say, Murkha. Bhagavad Krishna said to Arjuna, you're a fool number one. When Arjuna was talking all sentiments on the platform, bodily platform, that was Krishna's arrangement anyway. So Krishna said, Arjuna, anara justam aswargyam akirti karu Arjuna. You are speaking like an uncivilized personality. Aswargam. This will not lead to heaven, it will lead to naraka. This kind of mentality. Akirti. Akirti karu Arjuna. Arjuna, this will not give you any yasha. It will give you infamy. So we should therefore evolve into spiritual knowledge, and then we can understand difference between seer and see, because we are following the right process. Recently having the something we developed, level 3, and I was having students presenting, and I was feeling so happy. Everybody saying Krishna Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is service. So what happened to these people? Because the very reason is that they're reading Bhagavad Gita. When you read Bhagavad Gita, you chant Krishna Nama, we develop spiritual knowledge. Once Srila Prabhupada was taking class, he said, did you see the magic? The disciples said, Prabhupada, what is the magic you're talking about? You got knowledge. So getting spiritual knowledge that I'm part and parcel of Krishna is not a joke. Somebody told Srila Prabhupada, Swamiji, can you show me God? Prabhupada said, it's not a joke. If you want spiritual knowledge, you have to follow a process. It's not 5 minutes you come and argue with me, you understood what is God. No, my dear sir, it's not like that. Acquiring spiritual knowledge requires culture, because there is no culture today, and there is no, therefore spiritual knowledge is cultivated. They will say bhakti lata bija. There is a cultivation of spiritual knowledge. Spiritual knowledge is not something we just throw. It's cultivation. Cultivation by our character, cultivation by our rules and regulations we follow, cultivation by shelter of the great acharyas we take. Then the spiritual knowledge is cultivated, and it's clear. It's like this. Correct? So this is how it is. And the seer in the scene that is understood, both the cause and effect, he can understand. Oh, greatly fortunate Vidura. Why is he fortunate? Because he has spiritual knowledge. A real fortune is not because of wealth. A real fortune is not because of beauty. A real fortune is not because of academic degrees. Somebody has big car today, somebody has big, so-called education today, we consider him fortunate. No. Somebody is fortunate when somebody is a devotee. Devotee is most fortunate. And that goes for parents also. Mostly they are unqualified to be parents, because why? They don't tell their child what is real fortune. Or it is all mission. My dear child, you should become the richest man in this world and go to temple and give some donation. Child, that's not real fortune. You're not fit to be a parent if you teach your child like that. My dear child, your real fortune will be Shraddha Shabda Vishwas Sudadanishaya Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krita Haya. You cannot even educate a child this much, even this much, that if you satisfy Krishna, your life will be successful. What's your use of you being parent? Parent means you should educate your child. My dear child, your life will be really successful if you can satisfy Krishna. Correct? And that's not easy. To satisfy Krishna is not a joke. You have to really work hard. To satisfy an acharya, you see Prabhupada picture, always grave. There was once what happened that Srila Prabhupada was traveling. So some disciples bought tickets in the same itinerary that Prabhupada had. So they're traveling with Srila Prabhupada. But then what happened? Prabhupada confronted them face to face. What are you doing? The Prabhupada just want to be with you. Prabhupada said, do something that I'm pleased. Therefore, to impress an acharya is not flattery. You cannot impress an acharya by flattery. You have to do something, an acharya will be pleased. There was one disciple of Srila Prabhupada, and he was the secretary for Srila Prabhupada. And he used to love Prabhupada so much to not leave his presence. So then Prabhupada said, please go to Europe and preach. And later he developed 100 temples there. So Prabhupada, when he visited him later, he had translated book to practically every language. Europe is also a problem like India. Every place there is a different language. There is French, there is German, like in India. There is languages all around India. Prabhupada said, biggest problem preach in India is that there are so many languages. So anyway, so he had translated books to practically every language, made 100 temples. Prabhupada said, isn't it great? Yes. He was not going. So therefore, if you want to please Prabhupada or you want to please Krishna, you have to do something. Don't think it's a joke. So to please Krishna has to be, and that's what you should give inspiration to your child. My dear child, your life, you should do something that Krishna is pleased. And that's a fortune. Not a my dear child, we should become a very rich person. My dear child, we should get so-called this nonsense degrees. That's okay. That degrees doesn't mean any education. But today, our whole objective is, let me settle my child. Settle kar do usko. Settle him in sense gratification. There is not even so much anxiety for survival. Settlement has become the primary objective. Primary, that is the first thing. And so much anxiety we have for that, and we destroy our life, we destroy the life of the child also. We don't educate him properly. My dear child, your life will be successful if you can please Krishna. And then that should give you great satisfaction. And that's not going to be easy. To please Krishna is not easy. You have to really work hard for that. So, oh, greatly fortunate Vidura. Therefore, Vidura is fortunate because he has pleased Krishna. This external engine known as Maya illusion, through her agency, only the entire material manifestation made possible. So, whole material manifestation is because external energy, which is one of the energies of the Lord. Okay? So, this is now coming real knowledge is developing. As an individual body, consciousness is the source of all energies in the body. So, the Lord, supreme consciousness, just like the difference between our body and the soul, the difference between the whole material manifestation and the Paramatma. So just like our body, our consciousness spread, the Paramatma consciousness spread throughout the universe. The whole universe is kind of a body. Universe, Virat Rupa is the body of the Lord. And the Lord is the Paramatma. There is just like the difference between our body and us, the difference between this universe and the Paramatma. It's not the Paramatma has become the universe. And the whole material manifestation under Krishna's control. Just like my body is under my control, the whole material energy is under Krishna's control. Therefore, Krishna says, Maya adhyakshena. The whole material energy is under Krishna's control. Suyate sacharacharam. Throughout all the energy, material nature, there is a hand of Supreme Lord of the final superintendent. Due to supreme cause only, the activities of material nature appear planned and systematic, and all things regularly evolve. Okay? And everything evolves, material nature appear planned and systematic. Prabhupada says Krishna manages both material and spiritual world without a mistake. Without a single mistake, Krishna is managing both material and spiritual world. Without a single mistake. Everything is systematic and planned. If there is any mistake, that is in us. In Krishna's arrangement, there is not a single mistake. So we find that's a problem, weakness of the mind. We always find fault outside. And actually, if there is a fault, that is within us. We have only one enemy. What is the one enemy? Our own mind. And there is only one problem, that's in me. That is called advanced personality. He understands actually the real problem and the real thing is in me. Sometimes we have to find fault in others. That is only when the service is given. We have no business to find fault in anybody. Fault finding is therefore business of a weak mind. We discuss even in psychology. This is even understood by psychologists. For you don't have to be great spiritualist for it. Fault finding is always business of a weak mind. Always the positive mind, he always looks in a positive way. If I could be more sincere, if I could be more disciplined, things will be better. Correct. That's how it is. But sometimes you may have a business, you may have a service. It's like a doctor has a service to see the temperature. If you have a service, then you find fault in another person. Or we sometimes discriminate to whom to associate. That's also fine. But that's not finding fault. Discrimination and fault finding is two different pictures altogether. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki. Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Hare Krishna everybody.